This is NTV.
A very good evening to you and welcome to NTV Weekend Edition, NTV on the Road Sober Edition, live from the Masai Mara Game Reserve in Narok County, where we are spending our third night. We've been covering stories from this part of the country, county number 33. Before we get to those stories, first the headlines.
Tonight, 4 Kenyans killed after matatu drives into tens of pedestrians in Uganda.
The driver intentionally continued directing the vehicle into us.
But the pilgrims vow to journey on. Plus, an administration police officer shoots himself to death.
We primarily term it as suicide, but we are not able to establish exactly why.
Adding to the tally of suicides and murders within the police force. And tensions between neighbors simmer. Somalia to skip UN Habitat Assembly in Nairobi in protest. Also tonight,
ng'ombe kwa Masai sasa ni roho ya Masai, hakuna vitu vingine.
The inseparable friendship between the Maasai and the cow on Sober Edition.
This is NTV Weekend Edition with Edmond, Nyabola and Burrows.
We promised you Nyamachoma, check. We promised you dancing, check. And we promised you a bonfire, check. Olomnyak and Nemayan coming to you live from the Kichwa Tembo. What is it called?
Tembo,
Kichwa Tembo. It's a tented camp. Yes, tented camp here in the Masai Mara Game Reserve. But more from the county later. We begin on a more somber note. At least 4 people died and 4 others were seriously injured when the driver of a matatu lost control and rammed into Kenyan pilgrims who were walking in a group to the Namugongo Martyrs Shrine in Uganda.
Now, the pilgrims are from Bungoma. NTV's Sharon Baranga has that report.
In Uganda, a land of ancient pilgrimage, families will be making a new journey of grief. 4 people who are part of 100 Catholic pilgrims from Bungoma were killed in a road accident at Bugudi village along Iganga Jinja Highway in Uganda's Mayuge district. The driver of a matatu is said to have lost control of the vehicle and rammed into them. The pilgrims were on their way to Namugongo Martyrs Shrine.
We set off in the morning. We're going to Bukembe Parish, where we are going to have our rest until the day to come as we proceed on the journey. We are not on the road, moving on the road. We are just beside on the roadside.
2 pilgrims identified as Jocelyn Wanjala and Sarah Ajambo died on the spot, while Pelvin Malinde and Geoffrey Ogaga died upon arrival at the Iganga hospital. 4 others are seriously injured and are receiving treatment at Iganga hospital.
Tutaendelea mbele kwa sababu penye tumetoka ni mbali. Coming from Kenya to here is very far. Hatuwezi rudi nyuma.
The pilgrims from Lakiri Catholic Parish in Bungoma Diocese are said to have started their journey on 15th of this month. Assistant Inspector of Police at Magamaga Police Station says the cause of the accident was as a result of reckless driving. The driver is still on the run.
All drivers, every driver, not only taxis, even motorcycles, they should drive when they are conscious, knowing very well that these people are moving in groups to Namugongo and they move day and night. They should reduce the speed.
The pilgrims say they will continue their trek to the shrine for prayers as the bodies of the four were taken to Iganga Hospital mortuary. Sharon Baranga, NTV.
From one sad story to another, an administration police officer attached to Nairobi's Umoja 2 post today shot himself dead under unclear circumstances.
The male officer's body was discovered by his fellow officers early in the morning. His death adds to the growing tally of officers either killing their partners or committing suicide, a situation that is now putting the spotlight on the welfare of the officers in service.
NTV's Brenda Wanga takes a look at the growing cases in recent times.
Now, preliminarily we term it as suicide, but we are not able to establish exactly why.
A bleak confirmation of a situation that is becoming all too familiar for the members of the uniformed fraternity. An administration police officer from the AP lines in Umoja 2 reportedly taking his own life with his tool of trade, a gun. Neighbors say the deceased had quarreled with his spouse before shooting himself. His death coming just a day after another officer from the same vicinity was found dead in her house in Nairobi's Umoja estate. The rising number of violent deaths in the disciplined service now threatening to reach alarming levels. Indeed, the past few months have been characterized by an upsurge of police, prison and army men and women losing their lives or taking their partners' lives in violent episodes. At the beginning of this month, a senior police officer was shot dead by his junior at their camp in Maralal. The junior officer is said to have stormed the police camp and opened fire on his boss, killing him instantly. The junior officer had been aggrieved by what he termed as the high-handedness of the slain senior. Late last year, a police officer from Nakuru killed his wife and turned the gun on himself, an incident that stunned the couple's neighbors. In January this year, an AP officer committed suicide by shooting himself in the head moments after he shot and seriously injured his girlfriend in Naivasha. During the incident, the officer fired at his lover 19 times, with 3 of the bullets hitting her on the hips before he fled. At around the same time, an anti-stock theft unit officer from Nandi County injured himself on the neck with a broken glass. He bled to death. He had been interdicted. Just 2 months ago, a police officer attached to Luala Kotiende police station in Bondo sub-county committed suicide by hanging himself a few weeks after his wife left him and his small children. In one of the cases that grabbed the national headlines, an administration officer from Nabaholo, Kakamega shot dead his wife, a teacher at Nabaholo Secondary School. That officer is currently facing murder charges. The increase in this case is coming despite the conclusion of an exercise conducted in the police service to find out why officers were killing themselves and others. A report on the same was released 2 years ago, but its recommendations have not been made public.
We take it as a challenge and make a commitment that we shall provide public safety and security to all Kenyans.
The new Inspector General of Police seems to be abreast of this ticking time bomb, as he declared it amongst the key issues his administration intends to address urgently. Brenda Wanga, NTV.
More details have emerged on the suspects, victims and items recovered in the latest fake gold haul at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport last week.
NTV's Seth Olale reports that the latest discovery is linked to a previous fake gold bust uncovered by detectives and involves 2 suspects already charged in court.
The Transnational Organized Crime Unit, situated at the Directorate of Criminal Investigations headquarters, has taken over the investigations into the latest fake gold seizure at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. Detectives from the unit are treating Joshua Gaya Anyanga and Evanson Joroge Mwangi as the main suspects in yet another fake gold scam involving locals and foreign nationals. Anyanga and Mwangi are accused of obtaining over 3 million shillings by false pretense that they could sell gold, yet they were not in a position to do so, contrary to Section 313 of the Penal Code. According to the investigating officer in the case, Stanley Musembi, the victims whose names cannot be disclosed at this stage of investigations are from Dubai, America and India. Detectives seized 26 metallic boxes, mobile phones, computers and CCTV PVR from this counter truck seen in this footage, which NTV exclusively captured, and that was impounded at the JKI cargo unit and later transferred to the DCI headquarters. A Nissan X-Trail registration number KBP 204C was also intercepted in the Thursday morning operation. The mobile phones, computers and footage from CCTV cameras are currently undergoing forensic examination at the cybercrime unit. Detectives are also verifying documents seized during last week's raid. The documentation verification process will involve the Register of Companies, Kenya Airways, KRA and NTSA. Police have also linked the latest fake gold bust to 2 other suspects arrested and charged in court over their involvement in yet another fake gold scam. Investigators are seeking to consolidate the 2 cases. One suspect, Joshua Gaya Anyanga, is being held at the Muthaiga police station, while Evanson Joroge Mwangi is being held at the Gigiri police station. The court had ordered that they be detained for 5 days to allow detectives complete investigations. Meanwhile, Jared Otieno and 15 suspects involved in the fake gold scam will know the outcome of their bail application request when the Anti-Corruption Court gives a ruling tomorrow. Seth Olale, NTV.
Let's now cover a bit of politics. Deputy President William Ruto has called on ODM leader Raila Odinga, who is also the African Union High Representative for Infrastructure, not to use his office to engage in illegal business, referencing the fake gold scam that Odinga has been linked with.
Leaders who accompanied the Deputy President to a church service in Naivasha also want him to record a statement over the fake gold scam. Let's listen in.
Rais akaongea na AU na sisi kama serikali tukaunga mkono kwamba former prime minister apatiwe kazi ya mambo ya infrastructure ya Afrika, kazi ya kushughulikia muundo msingi katika bara letu la Afrika. Lakini mimi nataka niwaambie kazi hiyo ambayo alipatiwa haikukuwa na mambo ya madini na mambo ya gold huko ndani. Nafikiri alifika akatekwa nyara na wengine wakamuingiza kwa mambo hiyo ya madini na gold.
We need to see that man who is now going around in funerals and in political rallies talking about how he's a whistleblower. He needs to go record a statement at the DCI and give the investigating agencies the information that he has. We need to be told with his gang of conmen, when they boarded a flight from here, from Kisumu to Dubai, walikuwa wameenda kufanya nini Dubai?
Wewe kama ni whistleblower, mimi nikajiuliza, ulikuwa nyumba moja na wale walagai, wale watapeli maconmen wa dhahabu, mulikuwa na wao. Umetoka Nairobi na wao mpaka Dubai, na unatuambia wewe ni whistleblower. Kwanza tuambie, ulitoka Nairobi na conmen ukienda Dubai kutafuta nini na ulirudi Nairobi na nini?
But even as the DP and his lieutenants head out at Odinga, another group of leaders, this time opposed to his presidential ambitions, were in Nairobi, asking him to quit Jubilee if he will not keep to the president's directive to stop the constant politics.
The leaders say the deputy president was only focusing on politics at the expense of service delivery to Kenyans.
Rais anazungumzia kila siku manufacturing, tuchunge wale watu wako na factories ili vijana wapate kazi. Uhuru anapojikaza kuzungumzia mambo mazuri katika taifa hii, yule ambaye alichaguliwa na yeye yuajitafutia 2022. Sasa ikakuwa ni kama bibi na bwana kwa boma. Labda baba anataka kujenga, asomeshe watoto,
it appears the wall of ice is getting thicker, especially after the government of Somali raised concern about Kenya's decision to suspend direct flights to Mogadishu. The planes will now have to land in Wajir for security checks. Somali authorities say the new policy will have an impact on the movement of passengers and goods between the two countries. Sharon Baranga, NTV.
Now, the move to withdraw the National Police reservists from the North Rift security equation and to disarm them has been met with protests from a number of leaders who say it will worsen the already dire situation.
The leaders and some locals have also questioned the capacity of the police to handle a conflict that has marred the region for decades.
Wearily resigned to the violence and numbed by the weight and intensity of the constant blows, these residents of Baringo are a long way from home and peace. Life here is often marked by death, and the locals have been left vulnerable by the gun violence. Sogome Maria, a resident of Chemwai village in Baringo, says her life's work and all her livelihood was taken away. 35 of her animals were stolen by bandits, she tells us. It was the 4th time she was robbed.
Manake mwananchi wa eneo hili anategemea mifugo kwa maisha yake. Ama kuna kilimo.
It's always up to the periodic deployment of security officers to bring calm to the area, but even they are sometimes no match for a community that every day lives in the shadow of the gun. 2 NPR officers were recently shot by bandits in Baringo, and leaders from the area have questioned the government's capacity to curb bandit attacks that have scarred the region for years.
We are really wondering what is happening with the government. To us, it is like children who have been left in the wilderness without parents. Because any time people are killed, we don't see really response that makes these things stop. It has gone on for a long time.
The situation has been worsened as anti-stock theft units deployed to the area are ill-equipped with the only armored vehicle that would help in recovery of stolen livestock having broken down. The vehicle is now a shelter for chicken, said to be reared by police in Chemwai camp. The leaders from the area want the government to rearm the National Police reservists. The government wants to remove them from the security equation as a solution to the constant bandit attacks. The police reservists had been armed by the state to supplement the work of police officers in providing security where police presence is low. Other leaders from the conflict-afflicted north have also protested the move, saying it will worsen the security situation in the region. Anita Nkonge, NTV.
We promised you, as I said right at the top, we promised you Nyama Choma. It's right there behind me. We promised you dancing. The Morans are behind me. And we promised you a bonfire. At least tonight it's not that cold, is it, Edmond?
Yeah, it's a bit warm.
So we are very excited to be at the Kichwa Tembo tented camp. And when we come back from this break, we bring you the stories from the Masai Mara.
Including a game drive, by the way. We also have an interview with the governor for this county, that is Samuel Kuntai Ole Tunai. Don't go too far. But as we take the break, the Morans are still here, so take it away, Morans.
Are you gonna jump? Thank you for staying with NTV Weekend Edition. But I
On
just
the road.
have to be honest. Yes, on the road, we're coming live to you from the Kichwa Tembo tented camp. But Edmond, I have to be honest. I have to be honest with you guys. I am finding it very hard to concentrate with the smell of nyama choma, the tantalizing smell of nyama choma wafting in this direction.
Way, not the usual way you might know, you know. So it's kind of juicy.
So if I start salivating, please bear with me. Famed as the 8th wonder of the world, the wildebeest migration in the Masai Mara Game Reserve is one of the biggest tourist attractions in Kenya and Africa at large.
But as we discovered this afternoon, there's more to the Mara than the seasonal crossing. NTV on the road went out looking for the big five, but we found even better the human interaction. Here is now a snapshot of our drive into the wild.
Jumbo, we are in the Masai Mara, and there is no way I'm going to come all this way and not go for a game drive. At least try and see some of the big five. I even have my safari hat in tow. Dan, are you as excited as I am?
Can't wait.
All right, there we go. And our guide on this trip is Ole Kima, very experienced tour guide, Ole Kima. Thank you very much for taking us along with you.
Nice to meet you all, and let's go out and find them all.
Ole Kima, other than the big five, which you hear about every time you come to the Mara, which other attractions does it offer?
Now that the water level in the river is coming up, we anticipate to see some of the best crossing in the next few weeks. But there's still a lot of great wildlife sighting, including small game. We have more than 400 species of birds in the Mara Triangle, extending to the other side of the Mara, and even the landscape itself.
How long have you worked as a tour guide here in the Mara?
I've been working here for more than 10 years as a tour guide. So we have seen a big change in terms of climate. Of course, the rain pattern has not been constant the way it used to be. Remember, this is supposed to be the rainy season, but you can see there's not much rain. But still, if you compare to the habitats in terms of weather in the Mara Triangle, we receive the highest amount of rain compared to the rest of the park. In terms of lodges and camps, when I started, there were like about 3 lodges in the Mara Triangle. But now we are talking of at least 5 or more. But the good thing is, even if they are developed, they are not in the park. They are sort of on the rim of the park, which is still give wildlife space for them to move back and forth.
Oh my gosh, the giraffe! Look at it. It's so majestic. So we are now at the famed Mara River, where the wildebeest crossing happens between July and October.
I was waiting for the river crossing to happen, and I parked just like here, and we had no clue there was a lioness behind us, hiding behind the grass, until the wildebeest start crossing and the lion strike. And it was one of the most spectacular sightings I've ever had. This lion was not hunting for food, was hunting for sport. Guess what? She made the first kill, dragged it a little bit behind our car, left it, wait again. The wildebeest forget that there was a lion behind us. They start crossing. The lion made the second kill, 9 kills in less than 10 minutes. And he didn't even eat one. This is the best office in the world. Every day you go out, it's different.
Suffice it to say that I've had a very eventful day here at the Kichwa Tembo tented camp and made very good friends in the process. Now, the Mau Forest is the source of 12 vital rivers that supply water and support the lives of millions of Kenyans downstream. But encroachment and logging has left the forest in a dire state. Efforts to reclaim the water tower have been mired in political undertones, sluggish evictions and resistance from locals. But a multi-agency initiative to rehabilitate the areas recovered from illegal settlement is ongoing, as Bridget Ngana found out.
Mama Mary Masago has lived in Kisiriri for more than 4 decades. And in that time, she says, the Masai Mara forest stretched beyond her neighborhood.
Shamba ilikuwa mitarakwa mingi sana, na hata ile kabarabara tu kuwa naye tulikuwa tunapita tu shortcut. Ile kitu ilikuwa inatusumbua sana ni nyani, ilikuwa inatusumbua sana, hata ukipita unakutata tu naso huko. Nasema kulikuwa na miti na tu kwa tunaweza kupata kiangazi kama vile tunaweza kupata kiangazi nyakati hizi.
Mama Masago is among other community leaders here in Kisiriri, working with government agencies, among them the Kenya Forest Service, to grow bamboo tree seedlings that are intended to rehabilitate sections of the reclaimed Mau forest.
For this financial year, we intend to do 100 acres. We are at 75%. 60% we've done bamboo, and they're really grown.
Last year, thousands of illegal settlers in sections of the Mau, like here in Goben, were forced out of the forest.
Kwa na wakati mwingine watu walikuwa bado wanashikilia kwamba wako na kesi zingine ambayo wanataka kuattach kwa hii mali ambayo tumewatoa. Kwa saa hizi wakati hii miti imepandwa, give up. Watu give up kabisa na wamekubali kwamba hii imekuwa area ambayo imekuwa protected.
Still, Mau conservationists feel that the government has become sluggish as far as saving the Mau is concerned.
Our position as a community remains that the Mau must be gotten rid of illegal settlers. It must be vacated by all the people who are occupying the forest illegally.
The first phase of evictions last year recovered more than 400 acres of the Mau, with the second phase still on hold a year on.
We cannot have just a group of 40,000 people threatening the life of 10 million people. What logic does it make? You know, so we have to do something.
Conserving the Mau forest has always been a controversial issue as far as national politics is concerned. But with the replanting of the bamboo trees in an effort to rehabilitate the areas that had been inhabited by people, it is hoped that this vital water tower will once again live up to its former glory. Bridget Ngana, NTV, Narok County.
Now listen to this next story. For many, a dog is a man's best friend, but among the Maasai community, that position is occupied by another animal, a cow. Cows are a symbol of wealth whose value is steeped in deep tradition. You might have heard the term Ndawo as a term of endearment among the Ma. Well, it means heifer or a bull, but that name is only used by people who have exchanged cows and therefore share a certain level of respect. Victor Kiprop met one Ndawo with over 300 heads of cattle and has history.
Mimi naitwa Ole Kimbai. Na mimi nachunga ng'ombe zamani sana, mimi kadogo kiasi hii. Mwaka yangu saa hii, mwaka 86. Na mimi bado nakaa na ng'ombe tu. Saa hii ng'ombe 328. Ng'ombe kwa Masai, sasa ni roho ya Masai, hakuna kitu ingine. Chakula yake inatoka kwa ng'ombe. Sasa hata nguo unafaa unatoka kwa ng'ombe. Hata hospitali kama naenda na ng'ombe. Sasa Masai hapana hii ng'ombe. Yeye ni origiriko mbaya sana. Na yeye ndio nakwenda kukufa au yeye anakwenda kuiba ile kitu ya mwingine. Kula watu wa watu. Ile kitu ya watu yote. Na yeye kama anashindwa, yeye anakwenda kutunga ng'ombe ya mwingine. Anahusika na sherehe ya Masai, lakini zamani jeshi ya Masai ndio na chinja ng'ombe na kula msituni. Na wakati siku hiyo watu wanaenda mahali ingine na kwenda kuleta ile ng'ombe ya watu. Beleni mimi naama tu kila mwaka. Hawezi kumaliza mwaka 2 kabla hajaama. Anakaa hapa kama akiangesi naingia. Anaenda huko chini. Anaenda kukaa hapo mpaka nanyesha narudi. Zamani area ni kubwa ya kuchunga ng'ombe, lakini saa hii nakuwa kidogo. Ng'ombe anakuja kupungua na kuwa kidogo sana. Kwa sababu watu wanakuwa mingi na ardhi anakuwa kidogo. kama naishi peke yangu bila ng'ombe. Ai, mimi hapa najua kuishi. Ajui kuishi bila ng'ombe, kuona ng'ombe hivi. Sasa na kwenda kuishi msituni au wapi?
Edmond, what did you say Ndawo means again? It sounds like something from Lingala song.
Really?
Yes, it does.
It's like an insult to the man.
Okay, what does it mean?
It means
again?
heifer or bull.
Uh-huh.
And vijana wa mtaa, most of the time they call themselves Ndawo, or young Maasais within the community, but it actually means it's a symbol of respect, because we exchanged cows and therefore we cannot antagonize between us. Yeah. High respect. So next time you call someone Ndawo, be very careful about it.
But it's just a guy to guy
Time
thing, boys.
Yeah, exactly. Among the Morans, yeah.
All right. Now, of concern, Narok ranks highly among the counties with the highest number of cases of teen pregnancies. Many of the young girls are lured into teenage sex at an early age and left with no options but to get married.
But elders and local leaders have started a conversation about the factors leading to that spike in the cases, and in a bid to contain the growing problem.
Kuna 16 years, kuna mtoto wa 1 year. Nilijifungua nikiwa na 15 years. Nilipata mimba na kijana wa kidato cha kwanza. Alinipromise atania na aliponiambia ndio nichue ukweli nitakuwa itabidi nimshue my love. Nikamuonyesha yeye. Nilipopata mimba yeye akatoroka, akalenga hata akatoroka nyumbani.
Baba alikuwa anataka uoleke ama alikuwa amekufukuza kabisa?
Aliniambia usipooleka uende tu kabisa kwa hii boma.
Some teenage girls think that young boys cannot make them pregnant. And therefore, kwa kutojua, basi wanaenda kucheza, kujaribu, kuona inakuwa namna gani. Na kwa bahati mbaya, unaona msichana amepata mimba.
Ni sisi wazazi tumefeli. Wewe unaona watoto wanatembea bila wanataka, wewe hujui watoto wako wanaenda na nani, wanatembea na nani, wanaenda wapi.
Ndugu yangu alikuwa naye chenye ukiuliza utapata. So long as tu usiniambie unilie kare, mandege.
Kuna vitu ambavyo wanakosa nyumbani. Kwa mfano, msichana anaweza kuwa ana nguo, anaona nguo msichana mwingine amevaa.
Sikuwa na njia yote ya kufikiria kujikinga.
Huko itumia kinga yote ya kujizuia kupata mimba.
Ndio.
Most of our women and girls fear using family planning because of the side effects mostly. And we have cultural issues whereby they don't like women family planning.
I don't advise them to use. I would advise them to cease completely from sex before marriage, other than to use those drugs.
We, as county government, deliberately organize workshops. We sponsored some of our ladies MCS, the county assembly, to sensitize the girls on why, this issue of early pregnancy must stop. And I say, this is one area where we also improving.
I'm sorry, it was just too hard to resist.
All right, now give me my own. Thank you very much. You don't come to Maasai land and fail to partake of their delicacies, so nyam chom.
So it's bad form to speak with food in your mouth, but we'll be back after this break.
With the interview of the governor for county number 33, Samuel Kuntai, Ole Tunai. Welcome back to NTV on the Road Sober edition, live from the Kichwa Tembo tented camp in the Masai Mara Game Reserve. Joining me right now is the governor for county number 33, that's Narok, Samuel Kuntai Ole Tunai. Thank you so much, Governor, for joining us. We can't come to the Mara and not have a conversation about it because in the recent past we've had a bit of encroachment by people putting up hotels and all manner of structures, and this is sort of affecting the ecosystem. Are you concerned about this as the county government, and what are you doing about it?
Thank you so much, Nyabola, for having me.
Yes.
First of all, I want to put facts right. The Masai Mara Game Reserve is 1,510 square kilometers, and the Greater Mara covers about another equivalent number. So it together is about 3,000 square kilometers, which is approximately 800 acres. That is the Mara ecosystem, the Masai Mara and the land outside the Masai Game Reserve, which is under conservation. Now, this great reserve, of course, we inherited it from the de facto local authorities, that is the Narok County Council.
Yes.
And the de facto also Transmara County Council. And in this great reserve, the Mara Triangle, is under the Mara Conservancy. And I am a founder member of the Mara Conservancy. And we did it for the right thing. We brought in a public-private sector partnership because we realized that we needed skills from the private sector to come and work together with the public sector for the better sustainability of the Masai Mara Game Reserve. As you know, this great reserve now, the Mara Triangle, is well managed. Yeah, it is about 500 square kilometers, and there are only 2 lodges and camps. That is the Mara Serena and the Little Governors. So there is no better, conservation or management of that part of the reserve than what we have done. We have not allowed any lodge or any camp in that side.
Fair enough, but still on that, a report done by the Mara Conservancy that you talk about sometime last year found that tourist numbers are on the rise, especially during the wildebeest migration in July all the way to October, and this has affected the spectacle in itself, because when you have so many people coming into the Mara, and some of them even go as far as into the same positions that the wildebeests cross as they head down to Serengeti. This, according to that report, and so many other reports that have been tabled out there, have affected the same ecosystem to the extent that even climate change has also contributed to some of the change in patterns that we are seeing.
There is a serious misconception that Mara only exists during the Great Migration period. The Mara is as beautiful on the side outside, the migration period. Yes, we are busy. We are busy during the migration.
Yes.
But the period after the migration, the Mara is not busy. And even then, because of the good management structure which is working at the Mara Triangle, they are able to control the movement of tourists. They are able to ensure that the wildlife are properly protected. They are able to control the flow of tourists. There's never been a crisis before. So where I sit really is, yes, the numbers are there, but we are managing and we are controlling them. And that's why we still actually want more tourists to come to the Masai Mara Game Reserve, especially on the period outside the migration.
There have also been reports that have been done that say the Mara might not exist, at least the 8th wonder of the world, the migration in itself, might not exist within the next 2 years because of issues of climate change and those, the rise in numbers as well, really. Surely there must be a problem there that needs to be addressed.
Nyabola, I want to assure you that the Mara will always be there as a county government. Our first priority is to conserve and protect the Masai Mara Game Reserve for posterity, for future generation.
Okay.
How are we doing that? Let me just explain. One, today, all the land outside Masai Mara Game Reserve, which is also within our county integrated development plan and our land use policy, is put under conservation.
the Masai Mara, the Mara Conservancy is the pioneer conservancy around this area, and this is why, as a policy, we decided that all this land outside the game reserve is also put under conservation. That's why today we have Koyaki Conservancy, you have Naiboshi Conservancy, you have Siana Conservancy, you have Leme Conservancy, you have Olchoro Orogwa Conservancy. Any acre of land which is added to conservation is creating a buffer zone and therefore sustaining the Masai Game Reserve, which is what we want. So I want to assure all the stakeholders that this game reserve will be here until the time Jesus comes.
Okay.
And we as a county government are committed. Today, my priority as governor is not even about so much how many tourists are entering the Masai Mara Game Reserve. It's about protecting and sustaining the Masai Mara Game Reserve. And this is why we are doing. The other thing we are doing is today, when I took over as governor of this great county, we actually legislated, my county assembly legislated, and we created, we provided a law that says that 19% of the park fees, we collect as revenue in this game reserve goes directly to communities around the game reserve, so that they are also, enjoying the benefits of this game reserve. That way, then we are able, and that is why, in these conservancies today, which the county government is supporting, the landowners are benefiting. They are getting, income from their parcel of land, which they are put under conservation.
Okay.
And this is why they are always prepared to put more land into conservation, because they are getting also benefit from it.
All right, you have automated revenue collection, of course, but we understand there are still some loopholes, and some people with the deep political connections are taking advantage of the system to perhaps manipulate that automated system and gain out of it.
Nyabola, when we took over, of course, we found that at that time, revenue was collected manually, and the county government was losing so much revenue. And this is why, also in line with the Public Finance Management Act, we had to automate revenue collection. And after we did that, we were able to double our collection of revenue.
Welcome back to NTV Weekend Edition from the capital city here in Nairobi. We'll be going back to the Masai Mara. We apologize for that technical hitch where Edmond Nyabola is going to be interviewing and continuing with his interview with the county governor, that is Samuel Tunai. But let's look at other stories. This is just a quick look at part of what is in this week's news diary. We have President Uhuru Kenyatta, who will be officially opening the UN Human Settlement Conference at Gigiri in Nairobi tomorrow. 4 heads of state and about 3,000 delegates representing governments, private sector, civil society from 170 countries are expected to attend the week-long event. President Kenyatta is also expected to showcase the affordable housing program to potential investors attending the UN Habitat meeting. In the in-trays, Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru is also is set to appear before the Senate Committee on Public Accounts and Investments to respond to audit queries on county expenditure. Also this week, Kiambu Governor Ferdinand Waititu will appear in court after he was arrested this week and taken to the EACC for questioning. The governor is being investigated over some 588 million Kenya shillings in irregular procurement deals by his county government. A Kiambu court had granted Governor Waititu 500,000 shillings anticipatory bail. Live, we're going to cross over to the Masai Mara, where Edmond Nyabola and Olive Burrows have been covering the county for the last 3 days. Edmond Nyabola, continue with your interview with the governor.
Thank you so much, Dennis. I'm still here with the governor for county number 33, Samuel Kuntai Ole Tunai. Governor, we were talking about the Mara before, but let's shift gears and talk about pending bills within Narok County. We understand to the tune of about 600 million shillings. Why are you not paying the bills?
Thank you. First of all, Nyabola, for government, you know, that's not so much a bill. But of course, we feel for, you know, our contractors or suppliers that really they need to be paid for what they have done. But what we did is, as a county government, we actually did procure for an audit because we needed to audit some of the bills because we realized that some of the bills are not actually factual. And therefore, it took some time before that is done. We were also later joined by the Auditor General as a national government through IPEC had asked the Auditor General to also conduct an audit of the pending bills, which they did also. And we have been paying very, very well. Mm-hmm. As you realize, when we started, actually, it was almost about more than $1 billion. Yeah. But we have been reducing that bill. Yes. And I can assure you that in less than a year, all those bills
they'll be done. I have 2 case examples. There's one Gladys Chemutai of Kibiniko Enterprises who constructed roads in Kilgoris. You owe her 24 million shillings. The woman is stuck with huge hospital bills she needs to pay. There's another gentleman by the name Stanley Leshaw who did roads and markets and perimeter walls also in Kilgoris. Your county owes him 120 million shillings. He's currently bedridden in India. Some of these bills are actually causing so much pain to the people who are affected.
Thank you. For both of them, actually we are disputing. It's under dispute. And I can assure you that some of them we are not going to pay because we have audited and we have found that there are actually some of the bills have been magnified and we are not going to use public money to pay for work which has been not done.
Magnified by who?
We have audited. We have done the audit and we are going to follow the audit. I know that from the audit, the amount is not what they are saying.
Who then exaggerated the amounts?
That's what we are saying, that, you know, when you carry an audit, this is when you find that, you know, that the claim from the contractor is not actually factual. And
so
we can
who entered the wrong figures?
Yeah, we verify, we do the verification.
Okay.
And you say, the contractor say that you have done this, we do our own audit, and from our own audit, that is not the amount we owe.
How much do you owe then?
And therefore, what we are doing is, we are only going to pay for work done. And the reason why that bill is still not there because we are not agreeing with them on the amount. We are disputing it.
They've
we're going
actually,
to pay what we have agreed.
yes, they've also written letters to the DCI, to the Auditor General that you speak about, asking for their money. So what I don't understand is who exactly exaggerated the bills?
Because it's the contractors themselves.
Okay.
Because they bring a claim which is not factual, and we are not going to pay what we know for work not done. As easy as that. And we really, you can go anywhere you want, but at the end of the day, you will pay somebody for work done.
All right. Let's move on to something else about development. I've had a chance to go, all around the county, and I've seen quite some work in terms of roads and other facilities, hospitals, and water resources as well. What would you say are some of the achievements you've made within the last 6 or 7 years that you've been in power, and what still needs work? Because there's still a lot that needs to be done.
Thank you so much, Nyabola. And as Narok County government, when we took over in the year 2013, Narok was very much underdeveloped. Narok was one of the marginalized counties, as you know. It's a pastoral county. And therefore, where we did start, we are not at the same level with some of the counties. And thanks to devolution, that today Narok has changed so much in all the sectors. I must also say that Narok County government is one county which is working very closely with the national government. And this is why we have been able to achieve so much, because we understand our functions as county government, and then there are those functions of the national government. But when you come to Narok, we are able to work together seamlessly for the benefit of the people of Narok. Now, to start, health, for example, the Narok District Hospital then was in very bad state. Over the last 6-7 years, today is a state-of-the-art hospital. Thanks to our partnership with the national government, today there is an MRI, there is a CT scan machine, there is dialysis. Before, people used to go to either Nairobi or referral hospital in Eldoret to get a dialysis machine. Today the machine is there, well functioning in Narok and Kilgoris hospitals. We do have a state-of-the-art ICU today, well functional, HDU, well functional. And the same to Kilgoris Hospital and a number of other health centers and dispensaries which we have brought up. We also are working with the Red Cross. We are able to procure the services from the Red Cross.
Yes.
Ambulances. Today in this county, we have ambulances positioned in a very strategic location across the county, whereby
there's 11 of them.
For any patient today, you can be taken from your home to any hospital in this country free of charge. This is one of the great success stories. We have employed over 450 health workers today who are serving the citizens of this county across all the hospitals and health centers and dispensaries. So in the health sector, I mean, there's so much which has happened. Education. In the education sector, this is where one sector we have invested heavily. My county government, in spite of the fact that education, secondary and primary is a national function, through our CIDP, we realized that we really needed to support the infrastructure of so many primary schools. To date, we have used 2.5 billion shillings in the last 7 years to put up school. In some instances, we constructed new schools from scratch, girls' schools especially.
All right,
for
Governor, we are a bit out of time.
Dormitories and so forth.
Yes.
I also have to, I must mention about the bursary fund.
Yes.
Every term.
Okay.
In the last 2 weeks, I just released 60 million shillings to go and pay for the needy children in this county.
All right, 15 seconds, Madaraka Day preparations, just 15 seconds. It's coming to Narok for the first time, a National Day celebration, and there's been a lot of investment in that. 15 seconds, preparations for the Madaraka Day.
First of all, I want to take this opportunity to thank His Excellency the President, Uhuru Kenyatta, for giving Narok County a chance to host the National Day celebration. As a co-chair of the National Celebration Committee, we have been working very well with the national government in preparation Today, the Narok Stadium is state-of-the-art, is ready.
Yes.
The roads has been done in Narok Town. We have a bridge, thanks to our Kenya Defence Forces, a bridge which I'm still requesting that the national government, Excellency the President, that bridge remains with the people of Narok.
All right.
And there is today a mini state lodge in Narok.
Yes.
In fact, I want to request Excellency the President that he be there after Madaraka. You know, he'll be conducting some of his national functions at the Narok State Lodge.
All right.
So much has happened for the cooperation we're working together with the national government.
Thank you so much.
And where I sit, I want to tell the country that Narok is ready to host the Madaraka Day celebration.
Thank you so much. That's a good place to end it. Thank you so much, Governor for County number 33, Samuel Kuntai Ole Tunai, for speaking to us. Unfortunately, due to time constraints, we could not cover so much. Let's take a break right now. When we come back, Ida Waringa has the sports from our Nairobi studios.
to you. I'm Aida Orenga. Let's play. And it was a disappointing day for the Kenya Sevens in London as the team fell 26-17 to Japan in the 13th place semis to end the leg with just 1 point. Bush Mwale and Jeff Oluoch scored Kenya's tries, with Johnston Olendi converting 1. The loss followed an earlier 29-21 defeat to Scotland. Gave themselves a last ray of hope as they stand 7th placed Kakamega Homeboys 3-2 in one of 6 Kenyan Premier League games played Sunday. Derek Anami scored twice, with Danson Chetambe adding the third for Zoo. The result means that the Kericho-based side climbs to safety in 15th with 32 points, while Chemelil dropped to the playoff spot in 16th with 31 points. Zoo will now need to match Chemelil's result on the final day of the season to be assured of their place in next season's top-flight campaign and send the Millers to the playoffs. In Mombasa, Bandari FC secured a second-place finish on the table after drawing blanks against third-placed Sofapaka. Meanwhile, Vihiga United were relegated from the top tier after suffering a 2-1 home defeat to Western Stima. They now join Mount Kenya United, who were relegated last week, and the two sides will move to the National Super League. In the day's other games, AFC Leopards went down 2-0 to Tusker, KCB and Ulinzi Stars drew 2-2, and Kariobangi Sharks cruised to a 3-0 win over already relegated Mount Kenya United. Well, things not looking too good in basketball, as the Kenya Basketball Federation League game between Equity and Strathmore Blades was called off at halftime due to lack of electricity at the Nyayo Gymnasium. Consequently, amongst the other games called off were exhibition matches involving men and women Revenue Authority teams who had travelled all the way from Ghana. This comes amidst claims of neglect of the facilities by the Federation. The gymnasium is in a sore state with basic requirements such as shot clocks not maintained, lack of proper changing rooms and showers, as well as leaking roofs. The league had temporarily been moved outdoors back when Nyayo Stadium was closed for renovations in 2017. Well, quite the sorry situation there. Let's move on to some better news crossing borders now. And Lewis Hamilton won the Monaco Grand Prix for Mercedes, nursing his car's worn-out tires to finish in a nail-biting...
All right, thank you so much for keeping us company on this final night of NTV on the Road Sober edition, live from the Kichwa Tembo tented camp at the Masai Mara Game Reserve. We've had amazing company with Morans.
Yes, Olomunyak and Namayan. Now
Yes.
say goodbye from the Kichwa Tembo tented camp. But first, let's thank the Morans in good style
In a
for
Maasai
keeping
way.
us, yes, in a Maasai way, for keeping us company throughout this broadcast. But I read somewhere or I heard somewhere that you never serve people or dignitaries food before you first taste it.
Before you taste it? Okay.
Okay.
I see it.
And again, we speak with food in our mouths, which is bad manners. Don't follow our example. But thank you for keeping us company and enjoy the rest of your viewing.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Morans up! Muda kokota tu na mkono. Haya.